What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to the end of the week. Today we are, oh, I forgot to hit go live in the group. Hold on just a second. We're going to redo our dramatic intro here. Give it just a second. All right. What's up, everybody? We are live everywhere now and should be streaming. If you can see me, you can hear me, you see my beautiful mug on this fine Friday afternoon. Give me a hello. Let me know that you're hanging out. Love to see everybody hanging out with us and what's happening. So today we are going to be continuing our journey on the path to scalability. And we've got some pretty specific things. We've been, to give you guys just kind of a recount, refresher on where we're at with everything. We've been working through our path to scalability and how creating systems that are actually scalable for us, writing out all of these things that we need. What's up, Mike? Happy to see you on the other side of the state here. Hope you're having an amazing Friday. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to actually start breaking. We're going to start getting even more granular on this. And we're actually going to be, what I'm doing is I'm creating you a guide that when you're ready to start getting into these different avenues of marketing and advertising, what you're going to need to actually make that happen, what it looks like, all the tools, resources that you're going to need at your fingertips to be able to do this, where to find them, our recommended sources, all that fun stuff. So we got a lot of things that we're going to cover today that we're going to be going over. So I'm going to share my screen. We're just going to hop right in here. And if you got big plans for your Friday, share them in the chat with me. Love to hear what everybody else is doing. I have a show this weekend, actually. I get to go play drums on stage, which is one of my favorite things to do. All right, so on our path to scalability, like I said, we've been mapping this out for, man, about a month now, a month and almost 2 months now, and been thinking through like what it looks like to actually scale, what your products need to be, your customer support, building your team, getting to profitability. But I've realized if I keep building this out the way I've been going, it's going to take me forever to get through all this stuff. So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to start just building out our marketing, because I want you guys out there generating leads, and I want to make sure you guys have all the tools and resources at your fingertips to get out there, do what you need to do, and make things happen. So let's hop in here. And what we're doing is we're actually going to be building this on Canva for you, and making this a kind of a sheet that we're going to be able to, or a worksheet for you that you're going to be able to figure out what you want to do, keep track of all of the things, and really just come up with basically just build a system for you that you can have strategies. And the other side is this is going to give me the ability to come in here and keep adding some really cool stuff for you. So if you have any questions while we're rolling through this, share them with me, throw it out there. Would love to hear your feedback on it. I am kind of juggling between multiple screens here to be able to accomplish this. So if I miss your comments right out of the gate, that's no worries. So the first thing that we are looking at, so what I'm doing here is I'm breaking down the different, so we have our path to scalability here that we're going to be working on. The first thing we're looking at is marketing. Now we're going to break our marketing into different categories because, like I've said before, there are multiple sides of marketing. Marketing isn't just about getting out there and generating leads. Generating traffic, that's one side. But then you also have to think of the conversion process. What does that look like? How are you interacting? What's your sales process look like? So we're going to just be going step by step down our path to scalability. And what we're going to be doing today is really focusing on the different channels of advertising and marketing, and then thinking through what tools, what resources, what team members, basically everything that you need to be able to effectively launch this type of advertising for your business, and what that looks like, what all it entails, and what it's going to take. So that way, when you get into it, you're like, hey, I want to do this, but you don't have the stuff there. You'll know. So instead of just going, I'm going to do it, you can actually have a plan to get out there and do it. So we're going to look at first thing we're going to be looking at that I have mapped out for us is we're going to think through our organic strategy. And with our organic strategy, there are several things under this that we are going to look at. So we're going to pull up our elements here. And you guys are going to see my graphic design skills in action. And as you can see, it's not really super in depth. I really just focus on pulling stuff out of Canva a lot of times because it works. No need to make things more complicated than it needs to. So the first thing that we want to look at with our organic strategy is going to be live streaming. From here, what we want to think about, let's do this. I'm going to give you guys some. We're going to create some note sections for you here, and we're going to make this really fun. All right. So the first thing we want to think about for if we're looking at live streaming, what do we need for live streaming? So while we're looking through this, I'm just going to grab this one here. So what we're going to need for our live streaming, and stop showing that. All right, there we go. We want to be thinking about a couple things. Let's be thinking about our strategy here and what needs to happen. So the first thing that we want to think about while we're looking at this, while we're going through this strategy, is we want to be thinking about when are you going to go live. Now, I will tell you this little hack that I have that I've been using for a long time, just because it works so dang well, and it's the same strategy we all learned in school: who, what, when, how, why. So the first thing we're going to think about is, when do you want to go live? When are you going to be doing your live streams? When you're looking at live streams, there's a lot of things that you want to think about. You want to think about, one, you want to think about what's an ideal time for you, what's going to make sense for you, when's the best time for your audience, when does that time overlap, when are the most people online. It just keeps going, it keeps going. So but this is something that you want to think about. Now, if I have to, if I well, and I do, when I'm looking at my strategy for going live, the first thing that I think about isn't just about like, when are people going to be online and when's the best time. I'm actually more concerned at like the beginning phases of going live and building my audience. I'm way more concerned about my schedule. Is this something that I can accommodate on a weekly basis? Is this something that I can commit to for the long term? So for when, that's going to be one of the big things. But if I can figure out when people are online the most for my target audience, then we want to put that in there. The next thing you want to think about is, what are you going to be talking about? Because if you're just getting out there and kind of spitballing, if you haven't ever done it before, it's hard. Some of us more experienced streamers, we want to be, we've done it before. Like like I've done so much online interviews and speaking that, like, if somebody just says, "Hey, go live and start talking," it doesn't scare me. Like, I can jump out there and do that. But while you're getting started, you want to be thinking about, what is your messaging, and then along with that, what you want to be thinking about, what does your presentation consist of? Ooh, that looks wonky as crap. What does your process look like? And what I mean by this is that, are you going to have a PowerPoint? Are you going to be doing a screen share, or do you have software that you're going to be using? These are things that you want to think about, because while you're prepping for your live stream, these are all aspects that you're going to keep in mind. These are what you're going to think through and how it's going to work. The last thing that we want to think about, when, what, well, I guess we're going to call this one, this last one, we're going to call how. Actually, we're going to change the presentation to what, meaning, like, what are you going to be presenting? What are the physical things that you're going to be talking about? For what, we're actually going to turn this into why. So again, we've got when, where, well, that's the last one. So let's just go ahead and put that in, since I apparently forgot to, or I didn't plan that out. Where. So the last thing we want to think about is where. Where are we going to be streaming? So this is going to be, when are you going to be going live? Why are you going live? What are your topics going to be about? And I know this is something that's going to change, but this is just kind of a little checklist for you every time you go live. What do you need to go live? What do you have a PowerPoint presentation? Are there videos? Is it software? What are you going to be presenting during that process? And then you want to be thinking about like, how are you going to go live? What I'm going to recommend for all of you right out of the gate is my favorite software for this. It's the one that I'm on right now, and that is Restream.io. But there are other platforms. There are other platforms out there such as StreamYard, OBS Studio. There's several of them out there that you can leverage for this for going live. So these are all things that you want to think through though. Like which one do you want to use? Like I said, I prefer Restream just because I've used it for a lot of years, and the things that I've seen them do and the growth and the constant upgrades that they're doing and optimization of their system is impressive. And I'm a big fan of people who are always out there working on making their product better. So like I said, I'm personally a fan of Restream. It's the way that I like to do it, but I've also been doing it for a while, so it's very easy to use. And I find Restream's a really user-friendly setup for that. So these are going to be all the things that you're going to be thinking about if you want to go live for your organic strategy. So next thing we want to do is we actually want to connect these. So let's find a connector here. We're going to go to Elements. Let's see what it gives me under here. Oh man, come on, I just want to draw one. I think we could do that from here, can't we? Nope. All right. When in doubt, build it yourself. So we're going to put this here. I know this is super exciting watching me do this, but once you see why we're doing it, it's going to make a lot more sense. And once this one's done, we'll be able to keep using this one over and over again. All right, now let's change this background color. We don't want it super bright. We just want it there so we can see that it's happening. And next, we want to take the same thing. We're going to duplicate this. We're going to throw it over here for streaming. And let's expand this out and bring it down here. All right. Looking good, looking good, looking good. Now we're going to connect these. So first one is streaming. Woo, we got that done. And let's group this. All right. So the first thing we want to be thinking about when we're generating, hey, Byron, how you doing today, my friend? Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Friday. All right, so organic, we're going to be looking at our streaming. We've got that. All right, next thing that we want to look at, for organic, duplicate this. And as you guys can see, this list is going to get pretty big pretty quickly here. Let's think through social media post. And I know that I don't need to put a bunch of graphics in here, but this is actually going to be something that we're going to be distributing to you guys here, and what that's going to look like and all of that fun stuff. So that's the reason I'm taking a little bit of time to make it pretty, is simply because this is something that I want you guys to have access to, that we're going to be using. And again, the whole goal for me, just very transparently, this is going to turn into our lead magnet while we're talking with people are coming to our website. This is actually going to be moving forward, guys. The fun of what I'm doing here, this is actually going to be the strategy. If you come to Profit Lifter and you go, hey, I need to start generating leads, we're going to walk you through this path of scalability and go, okay, what do you need? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? So we're going to look at, so that's really the reason that's the other reason we're doing this, is we want to help you develop a cohesive strategy that you can use for generating leads. And that not only that, but we want to make this something that you can share with your team. So as you start growing, as you start hiring people to take over your marketing, to run different aspects of your business, these are all things that we want to do. Um, these are all things that you need to be able to communicate very clearly with your team. And so that's the other reason we're handling this, or that we're doing this today, is that we want to make this, we want to help you grow your business, right? This whole reason we're here. All right, so this one's going to be, we're just going to call this SM post for social media. All right, so for our social media posts, these may be a little bit different because, but it actually kind of follows the same formula. So when we're looking at our social media posts, now I've said this before, and I fully believe it. Social media, just posting on social media, isn't a great way to generate business. But it's a great way when people are, they see different things going on. If they're following you, you're running ads, they come over there, and then it's just kind of like this drip reinforcement. It's not like you're going to put out this one post and then thousands of people are going to sign up from this one social media post that you did. But what's going to happen is the more that you're out there in front of people, the more they're seeing your content, the more they're going to be like, oh yeah, I need to call them. I got to get this done. I got to get that set up. Let's finish up with that. And so that's the whole strategy behind this. So the first thing you want to think through on your social media posts, when are you going to be posting? And then why? Why are you posting? What are you? Why are you reaching out? Why are you creating this post? And the why would be the topic, really, is what that is. The reason that you're creating the post. The what is going to be what kind of post. And on this one, since we're here, let's go ahead and elaborate on this one a little bit, because this is really good. You're going to think, you want to think like image, reviews, videos. Just call it vids because we have limited space. You want to think promos, events. These are all going to be different reasons of why you're going to be creating social media posts. That's probably hard for you guys to see there, isn't it? These are all going to be different reasons why you're going to be creating social media posts. So this is something that we definitely want to, that you definitely want to know what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be putting out there. That way, you know, if you have images, if you need videos, you need assets for all this stuff, you can have it ready. And then the how, this one's going to be really simple. You're going to use your Profit Lifter account for that, meaning that you're going to use your social media planner, social media manager inside of Profit Lifter. So you can get in there, you can automate that, and you can build it out really fast and efficiently. And then the other thing that you want to think about are, what channels do you want to post on? Now, this is a question that I've actually had several times from people, is thinking about like what channels should I be posting on? The thing that I will tell you is post on the channels that you know you're going to be on. I'll give you an example. I've never, ever in my life liked Twitter. It's not my thing. I've tried it. I've jumped into it. I mean, there's a couple things that I think is kind of cool about it. It's just not my thing. It doesn't really resonate with me. So like if you go on Twitter and you start looking for Profit Lifter, you're not going to find a lot of stuff on there because it's not in the forefront of what we're doing or how we like to communicate. So I don't do a lot of posts on Twitter just because of that. I'm not on there. I'm not managing it. I'm not getting notifications. So I try to stick with places that I know that I'm going to leverage. So that's going to be like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Those are the big ones. Those are going to be the big ones for us. LinkedIn's the other one. But while you're going through this, you want to be thinking about you want to be thinking about like, what channels do you want to be posting on? Where do you want to be managing like the conversations? If people are replying, if people are engaging, they're asking questions. This is where you're going to want to be thinking through that and be posting on there. Now, when you get into social media posts, you don't want to get into fatigue thinking through or trying to do too much with it. So these are all things that you're going to want to be considering with this, or you're going to want to be thinking about, like, why are you posting? What's the content? And come up with good reasons to write content. Writing content for the sake of writing content gets very old and it doesn't really do a lot. It doesn't really not really effective. It's an okay strat. The first thing, doing something is better than doing nothing. That's the first thing I will tell you. If you're not posting on there, just having even AI content, things like that, is going to be much better than what you're currently doing. So again, if you're not doing anything, that's okay, but just know that at some point you are going to want to really start thinking through what does your social media strategy look like? Like, what are you doing? How are you going to be doing all this stuff? And then really nailing in your message, because there's a lot of cool things that you can do with social media posts, like writing blogs, sharing your blogs, anytime you create videos, like all that stuff. All your live streams are going to be there, all of that. All right. Now, the other thing that we want to think through, and this does fall under social media, but I think it's got enough. I think it's got enough clout now that, or enough steam, that it's something that kind of demands its own strategy at this point, and that's going to be your short videos. So with our short videos, what we're going to be looking at, that works. And your short videos, what we're going to be defining here, the difference between your short videos and long form, because we're going to get into more long form videos here in just a little bit. Long form videos are going to be more like your YouTube channels. This I'm specifically talking about. This was going to be Reels. This is going to be YouTube Shorts, TikTok, those type of videos. You know, the short ones. That's really what it's going to be. Same strategy, same things that we're going to be looking at. When are you going to be posting? Why are you posting? What's your content about? What do you need to make that work? And then how are you going to post? And again, I'm going to leave that as Profit Lifter, because you do have the ability through your social media manager to go in and actually create those videos and work through that strategy. Now, as you guys are probably seeing, it's really easy for us to dig down and go even more granular on these topics. We will in the future. Right now, I'm just helping you. Right now we're really just mapping out like all the stuff that you're going to need, so that while you're getting into these strategies, that you can have just a very clear roadmap of at least how to start getting there while you're building this out. And again, we're just under our organic strategy for what we're going to need to make that work. So we're going to keep that there, and we're going to make one more, and this one is going to be we're going to call this one our long videos. Why? Because I'm not any more creative than that right now. So we're just going to call it our long videos. Let's change up our icon. That way we can make sure that just be a little more. Let's add some variety in there for us. All right. Hand, come on. Not going where I want it to go. Close enough for government work. All right. So now, same strategy: when, why, what, how. The how, this one we're going to take Profit Lifter out. This one, usually with these long form videos like YouTube videos, things like that, you're actually going to have to load those on the platform that you're going to be using. So we're going to call this, we're just going to say platform. And then the where do you want to do this? And this can be, this one, like my primary target's going to be like YouTube for that. I have seen people use Wistia, places like that. They work okay for like kind of the SEO play. I don't really care for them, because I feel like there's not a ton of people who are just like hanging out on Wistia having conversations. So YouTube's going to be more of my strategy with that than Wistia. But even before Wistia, I would load long form videos on Facebook as well. And you may be thinking, oh, Facebook doesn't really seem like a great place for that. If Facebook is actually a great place for it, because a lot of people hang out there, and videos show up all the time in people's feeds when they're looking for them. So those are going to be the same places. And again, the beauty of it is that when you're creating this content, come on, get where it needs to go. When you're creating this content, if you make it ambiguous enough that it's not going to, like, just making sure it's not specific for a platform. So it wouldn't be like, hey, YouTube community, hey, Facebook community. You're like, hey, folks, and you just get out there and you start yapping. So that's what I would that's what we're going to look at for the long videos. And so now, what do we have? Excuse me. Looking under our organic video, our organic strategy. Like, what can we do right now to start generating leads without having to go out onto other platforms? We're gonna have our live streaming. We're gonna have social media posts. We're gonna have short videos. We're gonna have long videos. I feel like there's one more that we should throw in here. I think it was, no, there's several more. Man. Okay. Okay. Couple more here. And okay. Sorry, just clicking around on things here. All right, so the next thing that we want to look at, the next thing that we want to include in here, let's group all this together. We're going to duplicate it, and we're just going to move it right over here under our organic strategies. So the next thing we want to look at is we want to look at networking. You notice, so the networking is a little bit different because this isn't actually something, this isn't something that is going to be, this isn't an online strategy. As it's going to be part online, it's going to be part in person. I will tell you guys this: some of my best relationships I've ever had have started online and then moved offline. So like when you're thinking through a networking strategy and you're thinking about this, it's again, it's going to be the same things. You're going to be thinking about, when are you going to be networking? Now, this, where are you going to be networking? This actually starts to become more critical at this with this one. Oh, let's see here. So for the where, you want to be thinking about your in-person strategy, social media strategy, and then digital strategy. And what I mean by that is, so there's three different options here. Your in-person, these are going to be, this can be like your Chamber of Commerce. This can be like BNI groups, different places like that. Social media is really about jumping into different groups that are designed for your current client avatar. And then your digital strategy is going to be outside of social media. This can include like Reddit, places like that, where Quora, places where people are going in, they're just having conversations where you can step in, be the expert in the field, and talk about it. How this is going to be what people refer to as a prospecting or business development strategy. So this is going to be a lot more. Of a manual process. Like, there's no way to really automate networking, because it's really going out and just developing conversations with your target audience and starting to talk to them, discuss with them on when you're going to do it. But you still want to think through, like, when are you going to be meeting with them? Why are you meeting with them? What are you talking with them about? What things do you need if you're doing it in person, if you're doing it manually? Where does that fit in? And then how are you going to be doing it? Like, these are going to be like your physical locations, all of that. The next thing that we are going to look at is we are going to dive into our affiliate strategy. Now, you may be looking at this going, oh my God, we haven't even got into the paid ads and there's still a ton of stuff here. You're right. You are 100% right. The beauty of this is that looks like, yep, that looks like an affiliate thing if I've ever seen. The beauty of this strategy is it's not that you have to get out here and do everything. It's actually quite the opposite. What I want you to be thinking about is when you get out here, which one of these do you want to do? Which of these really fit your needs, your what you're good at, what your expertise are? Because if you can find something that you love doing, that you're really you can look at it and go, okay, I'm passionate about this. This is something that I love doing. Like for me, I love going live most of the time. There are some days that I really just like this last Wednesday. I was burnt out. So I didn't make it Wednesday. But you want to be thinking about like what do you want to do when you start looking at all these? Like what path do you really want to go? What makes the most sense for your business model and how you're running things and what you're doing? Because once you can figure this stuff out, once you can find things that you love doing, that you've actually got a passion about, that's really going to help you along in this process. But the other thing is that there are some times that you look at all this and you go, which one's going to make me the most money? And that is a very, very viable option as well, is like which ones are going to have the highest impact. And then you just kind of make yourself do the ones that are going to have the biggest impact on your business in the fastest amount of time. And there's nothing wrong with that as well. And so, like looking at that, you may consider live streaming the social media posts and the short videos. You may look at it and go, okay, these three over here, I'm just going to start with these. But if you were to ask me, or if you said, okay, Keith, I'm new, I'm starting a business. Which ones do I need? Which should I start doing to get the fastest results? Your short videos, live streaming, social media posts, and then networking. These are the four that I believe are going to produce you the fastest return on your investment and your time, and from an organic strategy. Now, with that, you can just do short videos without live streaming, and they're going to do better than not doing anything. But the reason that I like this strategy is very simple. One, networking. You get out there, you start connecting with people that are similar, that can benefit from your services. These are going to be things that are going to make sense for them, that they're going to be able to add, or that are interesting to them. They start following you online. Next, you start putting out posts, you start putting short videos. It starts connecting with the people that you're networking with. Now, the secret sauce behind this is when you go live, your post and your short videos start getting shown to your audience a lot more, because all of the platforms want to push people to you going live, because they know when you're going live that you're going to produce, that you're going to have a lot more people who are engaging with your content at that point. So this is really and then the long video strategy that would fall under the post, all that stuff. But these right here are all going to be different ways that you're going to be able to start generating traffic live. Okay, shifting gears, we're going to stay here in the organic world. But before we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and we're going to be thinking about, we need to be thinking about, how do I want to make this look real quick? And sorry, that's not what we're thinking about. I need to clean up my design a little bit. Okay, that's close enough, and I'll let my team come in behind me and finish that. So the next thing that we want to be thinking about is to do these things, what are we going to need? And so I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to, how do we do this? We're just gonna build it, and then we'll move it around as we need to. Let's duplicate this. Okay. Let's grab this. Let's group it together, so it's easier to keep everything uniform, keep it symmetrical, do what we need to do with it. All right, so now that we've figured out what we're doing, we want to be thinking about, we want to dive into the how to. All right, push that to the back, delete that one. Tools. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to take all of these things, and we want to start and we want to start diving into, like, what do we need? What kind of tools and resources do we need to actually make all of this stuff work? And once we build them out for the organic, a lot of it's going to be the same things that we're going to need um, for the other stuff that we're building out, essentially. So let's start at the top. If we're going to, break these down into categories. And we want to be thinking about, like, what's this actually going to look like? And this isn't something that you're going to need to take notes on. This is really going to be kind of a resource guide for you here. So the first thing that we want to think about, live streaming. What are we going to need for live streaming? So the first thing we're going to need to be thinking about is our videography. Well, let's find us a nice little picture here for that. That guy looks happy. He looks like he wants to be a part of my designs. You go right there. Thank you, Mr. Happy Guy. All right, so videography. What we want to be thinking through are the tools that you're going to need for your videography. And now that I deleted all that stuff, I realize I probably actually can use it and will need it here, but that's all right. I can make that work. Come on. All right, we'll come back to that. Right now, let's just hop in here and let's just add a nice little text box in here. Make it left align. Close enough for now. All right, so when we're thinking through the tools and resources that we need, if we're going to look at videography, creating videos, this is going to be content creation, whether you're going live, whether anytime you're going to need to create a video. You want to be thinking through, like, cameras. You want to be thinking through lighting, making sure that you don't have weird shadows, things like that. You want to be thinking through video editing software. Now, when you get into video editing software, there are a lot of different resources that you can use for that. Excuse me. Such as, like, you can go really simple and kind of keep things streamlined with Canva. You can get real in depth and go with like the Adobe Suite and believe it's Pro Tools is how you record music. But you get there's a lot of different tools for that. But this isn't right now. We're just going to be looking at what we're not gonna dive into that any deeper at the moment. So these are the tools that you're going to need. And if you guys are looking at this going, holy crap, all this stuff's going to cost me a ton of money, you're absolutely right. It is. But what we're going to do is we're going to be mapping out solutions while we're going through this of different ways that you can have all of this stuff working together for you without having to spend a ton of extra money. But right now we just need to kind of brainstorm on the stuff that we are going to need. So that way, when we go out shopping and we start looking for all these resources, we can actually find the tools that we need and see if there's ways that we can consolidate it and make it work for us. All right, that looks fancy. I like that. That's colorful. All right, next thing we are going to look at is we are going to need graphic designs for just about everything that you're using. Meaning that you can't make a social media post without having graphics. If you're doing YouTube videos, you're going to need graphics for your cover images. If you're doing affiliates don't really need graphics, but social media posts, live streams, networking. If you're going to be creating flyers, things like that, you're going to need that. Your short videos, you're still going to have your thumbnails of what goes on top of that you're going to need graphic designs for. Again, this is going to be the what that you need. These are all going to fall under the what. So let's think about what do we need for graphic designs. First thing, one of the first things that you're going to need, that you're going to find out very quickly when you start getting into graphic design, we're just going to say images / design elements. And what I mean is literally just like what we're looking at here on Canva, like having all these graphics. This honestly, like I've built with Adobe. God, my brains with Photoshop and with the other one. I actually use the other one more, and now I can't even think of what it is. I'll think of it here in a minute. But I actually just when I started Profit Lifter, I really jumped into Canva for the reason of it's cheap, it's easy to use, it comes with like all these images, all the design elements, everything right there. And the other side is the other reason I jumped in Canva. It has like if I want to do put audio in here, I can do that. There's video editing. Like it's got a lot of the stuff that we need that we're going to need for all this stuff that we're working on is already built out inside of here. But then so the images, the design elements, all that, and then you need to think through software for editing. And any software that you have is going to be able to produce the different types of images, like whether it's PNG with a transparent background, an SVG, any of that it's gonna cover that side. Okay, what's next? What else? So if we're doing live streaming, I need my graphics. I'm going to need my let's think through content. So we've got our graphics, we've got our videos. Last thing, content. You have got to have a way to come up with a good content strategy for all this stuff that you're doing. Now, I'm okay-ish at writing content. I'm not the greatest. I'm always first person to say that. I know that looks more like graphic design. I know good content when I read it, but if you ask me to sit down and just write out content, it's not going to be great. Just tell you that up front. It takes me a while. It takes me a while to really find the right words. That works. Find the right words, the right framing, the right neurolinguistic programming stuff for it. But AI has transformed all of that for me. So the reason that I want this in here is we want an AI content generator. This could be ChatGPT. You could use Claude. You can use whatever AI content that you want. But then also with that, you are going to need to think through like content strategy. Like, what are you going to be talking about? What are all the different categories that you could start going into? What are all the different ways that you could do it? But once you have your content creation down, it's going to streamline all of this. So now that we have been through this part, we have now looked at this and said, okay, if we're creating content, if we're going to go with an organic content strategy, here are all the different ways that we can do that. And that's going to be live streaming. And we have mapped out what this actually looks like, what this is going to look like on a tools and resources. So a little trick that I'll tell you, we just use Canva. Like I just said, we use Canva for a lot of our designs. My graphic design team, they'll use different stuff like Figma and things like that while they're designing. But for like our social media content, we really lean into just simplicity when it comes to creating videos, the graphics, the content. So these three tools, if you're not ready to hire a VA, you're not ready to hire a team, but you want to get out here, you want to start creating these. Camera, like I just use a Logitech webcam for a lot of the stuff I'm doing. I invested, I think it was about $100 to $150. I don't remember how much it was, but at the time it was a really nice one at the time. But that was several years ago. But a good camera, and it doesn't have to be complex. It could just be a webcam will work. Lighting, now there are packs on like Amazon where you can get like the green screen, you can get white lights, things like that to use. But just being cognizant of it, and even if you just go out and you buy I've done this while I was getting started and didn't have the money to really invest. I've actually just gone to like Walmart and bought like garage lights, LED garage lights for like $10 a pop that I would just set up around and just shine it in. So that way it would just light me up in the background, so it would work for that. But lighting, just play around with different lighting, figure out what looks good and what makes it work. Video editing, this is really going to depend on your skill set and how in depth you want to go. But like Canva does that. So if you want to keep it real simple out of the gate, just plan on using Canva for that. And I think that's going to work out fine for you. And then content, AI content generator. And I do have a secret. We're actually working on getting an AI content generator integrated right into Profit Lifter for you as well for all of your content strategy. So whether it's blogs, social media content, all of it, you'll have it built out right there in front of you inside of Profit Lifter. So yeah, that's something we're working on over the next couple of weeks for you as we're jumping into that. Man, I'm just trying to grab all this stuff and move it. Why are you making this hard? All right, so now we've got our organic strategy mapped out. We have our tools and resources that we're going to need, and we're going to move this up top here. This is what I was looking for. Oh, that's my 10-minute warning. All right. So we're going to move our tools and resources up to the top here. Because the thing about it, guys, these tools and resources, as we start building these out, I think the first thing that you're going to realize is that there are some tools and resources that, like almost all of these tools and resources, are ones that you're going to be able to have everywhere. Like these are things that you're going to use everywhere. Like writing content with AI, it's not just about your marketing. It's also going to be about like writing your SOPs, writing emails that are responding to clients. So your sales process, things like that. So these are all things that you're going to use often throughout your journey as a business owner. So don't get intimidated and go, man, I got to invest all this money for all this stuff just for marketing. No, this is stuff you should be using for everything within your business, not just the marketing side. This should really be covering everything that you're working on as your business starts to grow. All right. And this thing is all over the place. I just want to zoom in. Okay, here we go. All right, so we've been through advertising. We've mapped out our tools. The advertising one was one that, coming up with the structure, I knew it was going to take a little bit of time. But before what we're going to do from here is we want to be thinking about. Let's just go ahead and start jumping into our paid strategy, because this is really important as well. So we're going to grab all of this here. And we're just going to duplicate it. All right. So that's our organic strategy. Now let's start looking at our paid strategy and what this is going to look like. Looks fancy. Group that. Throw this bad boy right in there for us. Back. Delete this one. There we go. All right, let's be looking at our paid strategy. Now, as we get into this paid strategy, this is actually going to get a little bit different because we're not just going to be talking about the platforms, but we're also going to be talking about the types of paid strategies. And we've got about 5 minutes left before I have to hop off here and get going. But I want to show you, just show you a little bit of what we're thinking here. So we want to be thinking about traffic ads. Like how do we drive specific traffic? We want to be thinking about list building. Like how are we going to be building a list for marketing? We want to be thinking through events, meaning that like if you're doing webinars, if you're doing stuff like that, we want to be thinking about promos or promotions, like if you want to run sales, if you want to do any of that. Next thing that we want to be looking at is we want to be looking at retargeting, like what happens after somebody comes through, after somebody is engaged with your content. How are you going to stay in front of them digitally? I look at retargeting ads kind of as like email follow-up for social media. Where basically you're paying to put your ad right back in front of them. And I've seen some incredibly cool retargeting strategies. One of my favorite ones that I've ever saw, and then ended up talking with Alex over at Credit Suite about this, who runs their marketing. Like I saw this ebook. It was really cool, and I wanted it, but I was like, I don't want the spam, so I actually didn't sign up for it. Their retargeting campaign though sold me just because I wanted to see what else they did. But it was like as soon as I had left and I didn't go to the confirmation page, I got the next ad that I saw when I was on Facebook was from that same company. It was like, hey, you didn't download your guide. So like they actually retargeted me based off of me going to the page and not taking an action. And I was like, all right, fine, you sold me. Yeah, okay, I feel guilty. So I went back and re-engaged with it. But that retargeting strategy is a great way to stay top of mind with people of what you're going to be doing, or what you're doing, and how you're promoting, and how you're working on it. All right, so let's see. All right, so we're looking at just traffic. We're looking at what's it take to advertise an event, what's it going to take to build a list, what's it going to take to put out a sale or a promo, what it's going to look like for retargeting, and lastly, let's think through this. I don't think I have anything for this last one. So for now, we're just going to delete it. We don't need to make it, we don't need to add something just because it looks cool. So we're just going to delete that. So with our paid ad strategy, we're going to be thinking through these 5 things, like traffic. When are we gonna run traffic? Why are we just running traffic? And this is going to get these are going to get more in depth because when you start getting into paid ad strategies, it always does. But like when you're looking at just running traffic campaigns, this is really about branding. And sometimes, like as you're getting started, I wouldn't recommend that you run like brand ads and you just get out there and go, hey, we're Profit Lifter, here's what we do, because no one's heard of us yet. I mean, some of you guys have, that's why you're here, but we don't have like this big massive footprint in the industry yet. So like for me to go out and just run traffic isn't going to make a lot of sense. But what is going to make sense is kind of list building and going after them and going, hey, here's our guide to building a scalable business, and we start advertising this, and we start driving people, and they start downloading. Now we have a list. Now this list is going to tie right into our organic strategy. So I hope that you guys are seeing that, like, while we're going through this, all of this stuff is going to tie in together. Because what's going to happen is if you start running paid ad strategy for building a list, now when you go live and you do your live streaming, you can promote your live stream to everybody who's opted into your list. If you recorded a YouTube video, you launch a YouTube video. Now you can actually advertise to everybody that you paid to get into your list. All of this stuff intertwines, and the reason that I'm building all of this out for you is I want you to be looking at, I want you to be thinking about, I don't want you to be thinking about your marketing and your advertising as a singular event. I want you to be looking at it from a interweaving strategy that if you're going out and let's say you're running an ad to a guide and you get 1,000 people to sign up for the guide, and you know they populate you maybe you get 10 sales out of it, and that's great. I love that for you. That means you're just an absolute rock star and you're out there killing it and making money. But I'm still worried about what's happening with the 990 other people that you paid to get in your list. You may be super jacked about getting those 10 deals in, but what about the 990 other people that are in there? What are we going to do for that? That's where this comes in. We're having social media posts that are engaging them, that are bringing them along on a journey that you're taking them through. Sharing your live streams, them getting to know you. Networking doesn't really play into it. Offering an affiliate strategy, because maybe some of the people that you're talking to, maybe they're not a perfect fit for your business, but they may know people who are, and everybody likes to make money taking videos and creating videos that you can share with your entire list. That's really the whole objective of what we're doing here with this of all this massive brain dump that we've been working on, is how do we create a consistent strategy with everything that we're doing with the least amount of effort, the least amount of work to provide the maximum amount of results. That is the whole goal of what we're working on here, is what does this look like? How does it all tie in together? Because look, I've talked to enough of you guys, we've ran ads for enough of you guys that I know that you get in there and you're like, okay, well, I'm running ads, what's next? Let's run another ad. Maybe it's not about running another ad. Maybe it's about starting to come up with a long video strategy and start building influence and building your organic side and tying that into the people that you've already paid to get into your list. This is what we want to be thinking on, though. This is what we want to be focused on, is really making all of this tie in together so that you can sit down and within minutes create everything that you need for the entire month for your social media, your organic strategy, your paid strategy. Because guys, look, if we really nail this down, I promise you that you can spend 2-3 hours a month and have this robust strategy for launching and scaling your advertising as you're getting things up and going. So, all right, that's all I got for you guys today. It's 1 o'clock. I'm going to go eat lunch and do all the fun things that I do. Hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for being here, and I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. And we will see you next week. Later.